But I didn't realize I saw I'm like I was getting ready to watch something and I noticed that I noticed something within something I'm waiting to watch that um yeah, I'm gonna do this now so that way I can do the so that way I can get this out of the way for you guys. All right, so give me a second and we'll start. I have some things I gotta get set up and I'm like running a little bit behind right now on this. I wasn't aware that I was gonna like actually go ahead and do this at 6 o'clock, but something came up. So let me just do this. All right, and so we're set up over here. All right, we'll read chapter 40, um, and 41 like normal. We'll do the two chapters, and then we'll talk for a few minutes. Um, but yeah, I gotta go ahead and share this out. So give me a few minutes before I get started. All right, so people have been at me all day. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. We'll talk about people just being crazy today. All right. All right. Dismiss this post. I've been having kind of an off day today, so I'm like, it's like there was a point where I was just like, I, I was. Kind of an off day today, so hold on. It's gonna echo if you guys hear that. So just having like an off day. I don't know what's going on, but like the people around me, they were really acting up, and I I have a lot of other stuff that I deal with throughout the day. I'm like, Jesus, like you know, it's like Jesus, please save me, Jesus. So, all right, this is a little spur of the moment. So, all right, so there's that. All right, we'll share this off here. I totally forgot to add an image to the stream. I think there's an image, but I'm not 100% sure. Like, I don't, so I went out to do something, and then I ran into this guy who was just like, you know, most people would be like, they would say hi to you, okay? So this guy he just felt the need to talk about the fact he got a haircut to me. I don't know what it was. Maybe he was excited for the haircut. I just didn't get it. But it felt like what it felt like to me is that there was a form of gaslighting within what he was saying, and it was the way he went about it. It was very, very strange. Like when he told me about the haircut from the get-go, that really, really made me feel, it made me feel like he was like trying to get me to care about the fact he got a haircut. Now, I don't even know this guy, so for him to tell me he had a haircut right away, he got a haircut right away, I was like, cool. That's all I really said. Wasn't trying to be rude, but that's probably the only thing I could have said out of this. And I think that upset him because at the same time, Like I said hi to him. Oh, he said hi, and then he turned around and told me about the haircut. So I don't know if he was just trying to strike up a conversation, but it got bizarre because he like acted like I wasn't having a good day, and when he told me about the haircut, I felt something inside of me just say, you know, just felt like he was like trying to get me to care about his haircut, which is weird, first of all. And secondly, it's stuff like that I don't exactly get. Everybody's been at me all day. I had, I have people doing stuff to me all day. It's still going on. So it's been one heck of a day. So, all right. Yeah, but I have trouble. So when I go out and talk with people, it's that I feel like people like don't have much to talk about, and having a haircut, yeah, it might have been the thing he wanted to talk about, but you know, at the same time, he probably looked at my hair and be like, man, this guy's hair looks weird. I don't know what he was getting at with it though, but it just felt like there were some, people here, they have a way of going about things that really doesn't specify, how actual conversation works. So it's like they took this form of psychology that doesn't actually exist, and having a normal conversation is not something that they're good with. So when you have a conversation with me, you talk about everything else. You can talk about anything with me, but you know, he said something else along the lines of him getting his explaining why he got his haircut. He said something else along the lines of that told me that he just was boasting about his hair. Like he felt like his hair was like it made me feel like he felt like his hair was better than me. That's the message he was putting off to me. Now, I don't know if that was his intent, and I try not to look too much into it, but like, people have been weird with me all day. They've had this like underlying thing where where they're like starting like drama, and the drama with people don't make sense to me that they're starting it. I've had people get mad at me and tell me they think that I think I'm like, you know, uh, I'm the coolest person around and stuff like that. Reality of the truth is I do not think any of that. You know, I go outside, and if you say hi to me, I will be polite and say it back. If you start a conversation with me, I will be polite and try to start it back. But, what I was experiencing didn't feel like he was trying to have a polite conversation. You know, now if he would have told me where to get the haircut, where he got the haircut after he was telling me about it, I probably would have been like, oh, okay, so that's what he's getting at. He's telling me a good place to get my haircut just in case I want to get my haircut. You know? Stuff like that. People don't realize that like, you know, when you say stuff, there are certain ways you say things that like don't come off as very, you're not really boasting about that kind of stuff. Now, what was he doing exactly? I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. But I certainly hope that he, because after everything he said, have a good day, and I said, God bless you, and then I took off. So, I wanted him to understand that the way he came off to me with it was kind of like in just kind of a bad way. Like I want to make friends, but it's hard because a lot of people love boasting about stuff. Like I cannot meet a person that's around me that doesn't like to boast about their life in some way, and that's fine and dandy, boast about your life. But, too many people are boasting about something they have going on in their life that like makes them feel like super excited and great about things. I could have went to this guy and told him, "Hey, look, I know you're boasting about your hair, but I have a YouTube channel that has like 600 people on it right now. I didn't say that kind of stuff because I'm not trying to impress anybody, you know? I'm not, you know, if you like, you know, if you want to have a conversation with me, feel free to, but just go about it in a manner that isn't boasting about something. Because that's for some reason, that is one of the most hypocritical things I've ever seen people do to this day. And I've seen it a lot in this city. And I don't know what it is, but these people in this city, they have this idea that they have to boast about stuff. And then when they have a conversation with you, it's all about like, look at this cool thing I can do, or look at this really, really cool thing I have, or I paid this amount for this. You know, there's now there are people that do like to have a discussion and have a simple discussion. Like when I go to the video game stores, people love having like I love asking those guys questions because they're the discussions I can have. But I also know that they're trying to sell a product, so some of them are just there to have a job. But there are some people in those places that can actually have a conversation with you about a game. You know, the last time I went to the game store today and I just didn't get anything because I wasn't up to par and feeling good. So I didn't even get Mario Kart like I was planning to because just having that happen to me, it just felt like a form of gaslighting. And it was the way he went about it. He didn't even explain where to get the haircut at or anything. So there was a he just wanted to feel good about something. And that's the problem is too many people want to try to feel good about stuff. So they'll brag and boast about something that they did when you don't need to brag and boast about it. Look, like I said, if you see me on the street, don't be disrespecting me either. But if you see me on the street in person and you know me from YouTube, don't disrespect me because I'm not gonna sit there and wave the fact I have a channel. I'm running a channel off of the Bible to tell you, hey, you're doing something wrong with your life. You know, the Bible channel is for you to hear the word of God and for you to learn how God actually works. You know, and when I am doing this, this is for me to teach people what I'm getting from this and break this down for you guys. But, you know, when you come up to me telling me you got a great haircut, that's good. That's good. I'm happy you got a good haircut. But making people feel bad because you feel bad in a way isn't good. That's a double-edged sword right there. That's a double-edged sword. I knew he felt something about me because when I am out and I'm out like riding around on my way to the store or something, I'll nod to people and say hi to them and acknowledge that they're there. But like this guy, I was standing at the light waiting to cross the road, and he was like, I said hi to him. He said hi back, or no, he said hi to me. I said hi back, and then he told me about a haircut he got, and it just seems like there was something there he was trying to do. Like he literally like I don't know if he felt bad or something for the day, so he needed something to make him feel good, which isn't how you go about it. But it's just, you know, you'll see that a lot around people. Like some of these guys that they have a lot of stuff, they'll like they'll do a form of boasting to make themselves feel better because you're not acknowledging them at all. And I see this happen in a lot of people where they'll, you know, they don't there's something about them that probably they're not feeling good for the day, so they'll sit there and they'll boast about something that they have to make their day feel better. I don't know why they do it, but that's why I resort to leaning towards God and praising God, which we need to get to praising God. Okay, we need to get back to the story of Joseph and how great this thing is. So, all right, and then after this, we'll talk a little bit. We'll say a prayer, and then I'll end it at like a little before, actually around 7 because I ran a little behind and I want to go to full hour. So I didn't expect to start at 6 o'clock, but I saw something. I was like, oh, I'll just start it at 6. So, all right. The cupbearer and the baker. Chapter 40. Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their master, the king of Egypt, Pharaoh. The king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, and in the same prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph and attended them after they had been in custody for some time. Each of the two men, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were being held in prison, had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. So they were put in this I guess God's presence gave them a dream, and because Joseph had always had, the presence of God with him. I guess God gave them a dream as well because of what happened with them being in custody and thrown in by Pharaoh. Um, we don't really know what happened with them or why they. Hold on, let's go back. Offended their master. So they just offended him. Okay, so he got offended and I don't know. It could be something really, really horrible. It could be anything. Or Pharaoh could just be a downright jerk. Now, we learn later on, I don't know if this is the same Pharaoh, but there is a Pharaoh later on that just, you find out that Pharaoh is a complete jerk. So, when Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected. So he asked Pharaoh's officials who were in custody with him in his master's house. Why do you look so sad today? We both had a dream, they answered, but there is no one to interpret them. Then Joseph said to them, Do not interpret, do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams. So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream. He said to him, In my dream, I saw a vine in front of me, and on the vine were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, it blossomed, and it clustered ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and put them in his hand. So, Joseph is going to turn around and interpret the dream back to them after he hears all this, more than likely. So we'll see what the meaning of this is. So, this is what it means, Joseph said to him. 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you your position. And you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand as you used to do when you were his cupbearer. Okay? So, man, my throat. I should have gotten some water. Hold on. Let me see if I have water here. Ah, all right. Still getting over this cold. I still get dry mouth and I still have congestion. So like my hearing, I can feel it. It feels like it's about like my ears are about to pop because I'm still congested. So I'm getting so close to like actually being at the end of my cold. It's just I'm waiting for my ears to like pop. So, but when all goes well with you, remember me and show me kindness. Mention me to Pharaoh and get me out of this prison. I was forcibly carried off from the land of the Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing to deserve being put in a dungeon. So, Joseph's Joseph's trying to get himself out of jail right now because this guy literally does nothing. He's an example of me where I'll do nothing, okay? But because I'm doing nothing and I have the presence of God with me, that's how I get myself, and that's how these messes happen to me. Because, for some reason, light, if people sense a bunch of light in you, they'll always be attracted to you and try to hit you with darkness because that's normally how it works. They want to try to break that light and take the light from you because you're blessed and they're not. So when they see that you're blessed, they're gonna keep they're gonna keep sending you bad stuff your way and try to affect your day, stuff like that. And I had that happen to me today. After I got done reading the last chapter of Joseph, I got in a Discord and I had a bunch of people just rage at me, and on top of it, I had other stuff happen where my computer wasn't working, and just a whole bunch of like non-stop drama coming my way due to a bunch of people who just don't have, the Lord Jesus Christ in their life or a God or anything that's going to pursue them to make them happy or feel better about themselves besides like, what they're doing. You know, like I'll go into talking about some things here later. I have an example of something that really, really I need to talk about and bring up, and I hope people out there understand why I'm bringing it up because it goes along the lines of playing a god. So when the chief baker saw that Joseph had given a favorable interpretation, he said to Joseph, "I had a dream too. On my head were three baskets of bread. In the top basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head." Okay, so here's the interpretation of this dream. This is what it means. Joseph said, "The three baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off Pharaoh will lift off your head and impale your body on a pole, and the birds will eat away your flesh." Wow, that's rough. That does it, and reversing back to what the reversing back to the whole story. Um, with the baskets and the bird, that kind of makes a lot of sense as to what, because it was a very negative dream. So now the third day was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a feast for all his officials. He lifted his heads of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker and presents in the presence of his officials. He restored chief cupbearer to his position, so that once again put the cup into Pharaoh's hands. But he impaled the chief baker as Joseph had said to them in his interpretation. The chief cupbearer, however, did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. Wow, that's rough. All right, so yeah, we saw a dark ending to one of the dreams. Um, just remember, dream interpretations, happen through God. So if you do have a dream, you know, um, I wouldn't say that that's exactly. I wouldn't say that it's paganism, but interpreting dreams like Joseph did it right here is just telling you what the dream is about, or they warn you about your life a little bit. And so they're examples of like God, like letting you know things may be about to happen and stuff like that. So that's how I look at them. So, all right, chapter 41, Pharaoh's dream. Sorry. When 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing by the Nile, when out of the river there came up 7 cows, sleek and fat, and grazed among the reeds. After them, 7 other cows, ugly and gaunt, came up out of the Nile and stood beside those of the on the riverbank, and the cows that were ugly and gaunt ate up seven sleek fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke up. He fell asleep again. So wait, did he just have that dream? All right. Yeah, okay. So he fell asleep again and had a second dream. 7 heads of grain, healthy and good, were growing on a single stalk. After them, 7 other goods of grain sprouted, thin and scorched by the east winds. The thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 healthy heads. Then Pharaoh woke up. It had been a dream. So Pharaoh just had like 2 dreams in a row. So as for interpreting them, I'm sure Joseph will come and he'll go ahead and interpret them. In the morning, his mind was troubled, so he sent for all the magicians, so and wise men of Egypt. So basically, we're about Pharaoh is involving himself in witchcraft ritual, or paganism ritual is what you want to say from the sounds of it, because they just mentioned magicians and wise men, which are magicians like magic casters, and wise men being like I want to say psychics, stuff like that. So of Egypt. Pharaoh told them his dream, but no one could interpret them for him. So man. So he just asked everybody about the dream, and he couldn't get an answer from anybody. So then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, "Today I am a reminder of my shortcomings." Pharaoh was once angry with his servants, and he imprisoned me and the chief baker in the house of the captain of the guard. Each of us had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. Now, a young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of guard. He told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us, giving each man the interpretation of his dream. And all things turned out exactly as he interpreted them to us. I was restored to my position, and the other man was impaled. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph. So basically, what happened is the cupbearer, told Pharaoh what happened, and they're going to find Joseph right now. So Joseph's about to get out of jail free card, pretty much. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was quickly brought from the dungeon. When he had shaved and changed his clothes, he came before Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream, and no one can interpret it, but I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it." "I cannot do it," Joseph replied to Pharaoh, "but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires." So basically, Joseph's not giving Pharaoh an answer, and because Joseph got put in a bad position by Pharaoh, and this is an example of not bending the knee to somebody, or not bending the knee for somebody. Okay, so what that is an example of is, all right, so let's just say you're in a really, really bad situation, okay? Or you're in a situation where somebody's telling you what to do. All right? They're just telling you and telling you and telling you, and you're pretty much just like, I'm not gonna do what you say. You keep that's what Pharaoh's do. I mean, Joseph is doing right now to Pharaoh, because Pharaoh he isn't entitled to listen to Pharaoh because Pharaoh's not his king. Even if Pharaoh put Joseph in prison, he's still not God. That's why this reference leads back to why you should only listen to God, and you should never bow down in front of a master that isn't your master, which again isn't God. That's why, like, when people with presidents, I look at them like Pharaoh. If I was to run into a president and the president told me to, like, or like, let's just say there was somebody around me that felt like they had so much power and they had a bunch of people behind them. Now, if they simply asked me to do something without threatening me, of course, because when you're in the middle of when people threaten you, yes, it's a little bit horrifying, of course, because I've been there. Um, but you can just be like, I'm not going to listen to your demand because you're not my God. And I say that to everybody all the time that tells me what to do. I'm always like, look, you're telling me what to do here, but I'm not going to listen to you because you're not my God. You're not going to bless me. You're not going to give me what I want. You know, you're not going to give me direction. You're not going to change my life. People can give you all the money in the world they want, but that again is playing God. People rely on money as like, people see, I don't see money as a blessing, to be honest. I see it as a blessing if it randomly comes to you. If money randomly shows up in your pocket, in your bank account, all right? That's a blessing from God. But if it's not showing up into your bank account freely and somebody's like handing it to you, well, it all depends on the incident. Like I had an incident the other night where some guy was at my store, and he was talking to me, and he just, like, he gives me $20 randomly. That right there's a blessing. But if you're getting money to be told to go do something, it's not necessarily a blessing. It's more like, you're doing a line of work and you're working for that. So you know in a sense, you're not really getting that from God, and I don't know, it's really hard to explain. But people do that a lot, who they put money in front of you when they want something really, really bad to get what they want. And that's just the way things work. Like, I've had people literally give me money, and I would always, I get to the point sometimes where it's so frustrating, because there's a lot of people in life that don't understand what the meaning of life is, and how life and things are actually just to actually work. And so it does upset me, because I see people abuse that a lot. And so that's why, like, I go about things in a certain manner, because people are like, well, they get excited for money. But all money really it's a replaced desire. It can help you to buy stuff. But for me, a blessing is something more and more, way more important to me than me getting money. And a lot of people love money. That's just how it goes. And it's unfortunate we have people love money, and they don't really think about how that affects their outcome on their look in life. They don't really think about that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm okay with money. I like getting money, but it's like, at the end of the day, you know, I wasn't, money wasn't an important factor to me today, except for buying groceries. And even so, like today, I wasn't even in the mood to buy a game, because I don't know, I'm not feeling it right now. So then Pharaoh said to Joseph, in my dreams, I was standing on the bank of the Nile, when out of the river there came up 7 cows, fat and sleek, and they grazed among the reed. After them, 7 other cows came up, scrawny and very ugly and lean. I had never seen such ugly cows in the land of Egypt. The lean, ugly cows ate up 7 fat cows that came up first. But even after they ate, no one could tell that they could have done so. They looked just as ugly as before. Then I woke up. So, all right. All right. In my dream, I had 7 heads of grain, full and good, growing on a single stalk. After them, 7 other heads sprouted with withered and then scorched by the east wind. The thin head of grains swallowed up the 7 good heads. I told this to the magician, but none of them could explain it to me. Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, "The dream of Pharaoh are one and the same. God has revealed to Pharaoh that he is about to do. What is he is about to do? The 7 good cows are 7 years, and 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. So, 7 years. It is one and the same dream. The 7 lean, ugly cows that came up afterward are 7 years, and so are the 7 worthless heads of grain scorched by the east wind. They are 7 years in famine. It is just as I said, Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will follow them. Then all the abundance of Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered, because the famine that follows it will be so severe. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God, and God will do it soon. And now let Pharaoh look for discerning and look for a discerning and a wise man, and put him in charge of the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh appoint the commissioners over the land to take 1/5 of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of the abundance. They should collect all the food of the good years that are coming, and store up the grain under the authority of Pharaoh, to be kept in the city for food. This food should be held in reserve for the country, to be used during the 7 years of famine that will come upon Egypt, so that the country may be ruined by the famine. The plan seemed good to Pharaoh and to all his officials. So Pharaoh asked them, Can we find anyone like this man, in one whom is with the Spirit of God?" Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders only with respect to the throne. I will be greater than you." So Joseph got his get out of jail free card for giving that form of knowledge to the Pharaoh. So what's going on here? There's so much stuff. All right. So Now we're getting to a point where Joseph's getting everything he got a huge he's getting a huge blessing right now. And this next part is like gonna be a huge step in Joseph's story. So you'll see that coming here very soon. So, but by helping the Pharaoh, he got himself a get out of jail free card, and it really helped the Pharaoh to understand what needed to be done. Excuse me. So the Pharaoh chose to listen to God for this one, and that's good because um usually, in Egypt they didn't listen to God too much, but when they did, they always got like they always were given like a huge blessing. Like and as you can see here, the people Egypt is about in the near future in it very soon. We're gonna see Egypt's leader change is what I'm gonna a best way to say it. So Joseph in charge of Egypt. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, I hereby put you in charge of the whole land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh took his stagnant ring from his finger and put it on Joseph's finger. He dressed him in a robe of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. He had him ride in chariot as his second in command, and people shouted to him, Make way! Thus he put in charge of a whole land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, but without your words, without your word, no one will lift hand or foot in Egypt. No one will lift hand or foot in Egypt. Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zep Peneth, Pena, Zephaneth Pena, and gave him Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, to be his wife. And Joseph went through out the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh's king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from Pharaoh's presence and traveled throughout Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. The land produced plentiful. Joseph collected all food produced in 7 years of abundance in Egypt and stored it in the cities. In each city, he put the food growth in the fields surrounding it. Joseph stored up huge quantities of grain like the sand of the sea. It was so much that he stopped keeping record because it was beyond measure. Before the famine came, 2 sons were born to Joseph by Asnath, daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. Joseph named his firstborn Manasseh and said, It is because God has made me forget all my troubles and my father's household. The second son he named Ephraim and said, It is because God has made me fruitful in the land of suffering. 70 years of abundance in Egypt came to an end, and 7 years of famine began. Just as Joseph had said, there was famine in all other lands, but in the whole land of Egypt there was food. When Egypt began to feel the famine, the people cried to Pharaoh for food. Then Pharaoh told all the Egyptians, Go to Joseph and do what he tells you. So Pharaoh really took a liking to Joseph, as you can see, and Joseph is pretty much a leader right now in charge of Egypt right now, if you look at it that way, because Pharaoh's going to him for all. Well, A wise man, actually, now that I think about it, the term a wise man is there to make decisions based upon, oh, make decisions, help Pharaoh make decisions. Pretty much how, like, in modern day society, there's the president. There's always going to be a person speaking into his ear, making decisions like that. That's just how everything works. So, when the famine had spread over the whole country, Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold grain to Egypt famine, for the famine was severe throughout Egypt, and all the world came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph because the famine was uh, severe everywhere. So, all right, the famine's just bad right now. So, but yeah, as you can see, Pharaoh really took a liking to Joseph. We're on chapter 42 right now. So, um, we started out in 40 and ended 41. So, but yeah. So, I think I'm gonna use this last 15 minutes to talk about a few things. So that whole story right there, we're pretty much about done with it because we're at the point now where like things are gonna happen. Things are gonna happen between Joseph that you're gonna see that are more about his family showing back up into his life and and still remaining as the same people. Well, his family showing up into his life and you know he just does stuff that's gonna show them that hey, you were kind of like mean to me in the past. I need to show you how that felt. Not more vengeance, but like more of a like I'm gonna keep doing stuff to trick you to come back here because you owe me big time because you got me kicked out of the family, something like that. So that's how you have to look at it. Um, I don't really I I actually like I said you know I like the story. I like this story a lot. It's one of my favorite ones because of the way it all just ends and the way it like concludes itself. It's really, really just interesting to see how it all goes. You know, very, very relatable to anybody that's been through a lot of stuff and had to walk away from their family. I had to do it. I'm sure there's other people that do it too. It hurts to walk away from your family, but when your family is not being family, then it's best to kind of just walk away. It hurts to do it, but sometimes we have to do it, you know, to to understand ourselves and what's really going on with us. And you know, I'm just happy to be at this point where I'm using this as a point where like I can learn a lot from it instead of like going to somebody and asking them for like knowledge or something like that because not every the I'm learning that people outside of you they don't always have the best form of knowledge. So you'll go and you'll ask somebody a question, okay? Or like you'll go and you'll talk to somebody about something and they'll listen to you and some people will just sit there and completely laugh at you and not make you feel any better about it. And they'll actually some people will legit make you feel worse about the situation that you're stuck in. And so, this is why I've come to the Bible. The Bible is just like one of those outlets that really, really just helps me a lot understand that that I'm going through it and there's other people going through it. And we can all seek God in the midst of it, showing us that he has compassion for us even for walking away from our family and stuff like that. So if you're having issues with your family, seek the Bible, seek the presence of God. That'll be the best way to help you. And the stuff that's going on with Joseph in the Bible is stuff that I'm sure an average guy is dealing with right now besides me. And this story does help give realization to that, like later on down the line things will come together, but it takes time, you know. Um But yeah, some things are just about holding in there, waiting, getting the best of everything eventually. But at this point, it's 52. That was a fast stream. I'm not sure how long ago we started, so let me see something here real quick. Wow. Okay, so we started exactly on the hour today. So this stream, I'm gonna like once I have it on YouTube or whatever, I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna redirect the title of it and just edit put an image to it so that way you guys can come here and just check it out. Um, if it I would read one more, but like I broke a lot down during those chapters, and that's why I can really the fact that I can relate to that story just really like is why I like that one so much, and I will talk about that one a lot. So um but I'm gonna say a prayer and then we'll call it. All right. So Lord Jesus Christ, thank you for bringing everybody in. I'm enjoying the story of Joseph, and I know it's taught me a lot about myself. Lord, I am blessed for hearing your word, and anybody that comes in here, listening to your word, please bless them as well, Lord. And on my days off, Lord, make sure things go a lot better for me. I've been having a rough day the past few days I'm off. Like I had a rough day the other day. I'm having a rough day today. And then I'm having a rough day. Like, I'm hoping not to have a rough day on my next day off, but we'll see about that. Lord, just, if anything, bless me on my days off and make sure things go right. Lord, also, this last bit of sickness, if you could really help me get rid of this and, make me feel better 100%. I know you're going to do it by tomorrow, or the day after. So, Lord, just make that recovery rush. And Lord, anybody else that's sick right now, rush their recovery too. Make them feel better. And Lord, thank you all around for blessing me. It is a blessing that you've blessed me. And Lord, I will keep communicating your word into the world. In Jesus' name, amen. And yep. So we got a few more minutes. I can talk a little bit more. But yes, it's been one of those interesting days for me. I've been screamed at, I've been yelled at. In fact, I can tell you right now, I'm gonna go look at something here very soon once I get out of here because I got messages I haven't even looked at. Now, I know they're just giving me this hard time, but it's just sometimes it's like wow. Can you guys slow down a little bit? It's rough. I understand it that you wanna give me this hard time. But really, I need a break from being given a hard time today, man. I've been all day, and like I don't mind people doing this to me, but I'm not a machine. I'm not made of stone. All right, those people doing that to others, you know, it gets rough sometimes, and I know they're not fully 100% actually being mean to me, but boy, oh boy, they love to like really bring the worst out of people at times, and it's rough, but I can tolerate it, And again, this is why Joseph is my favorite story because it teaches me how to handle stuff differently, and seeing how I can handle stuff differently, it really shows me that you'll get ultimately blessed after you'll get ultimately blessed in reverse after some time. So I'm just, you know, I take things as they are right now. I'm not mad at people. I just wish people would like relax a little bit some days because the people I try my best to reach out and talk to people about stuff because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to talk with people, kind of have conversations with them. And sometimes that's all I want is just to have a conversation with somebody. But yeah, today's just been something else. And I'm gonna say one more prayer for the road. Uh, Lord Jesus Christ, make the rest of this day go pretty good for me. There's a lot going on right now. As soon as I get out of here, I'm excited to do everything. It's gonna be an exciting evening. And Lord, just remain with me, Lord. Don't disappear. Don't stray away. Anybody else's life that you're in right now, and they kind of stray away from you, pull them right back, Lord, and make sure you don't, make sure you listen to their prayers. Make sure just listen to our prayers, Lord, is all we ask, and make sure you're there for us. I know you always want us to like acknowledge you, and I will continue to acknowledge you. And yeah, so thank you, Lord, for all that. Um, in Jesus' name, Amen. I guess like that was the best way I could think about it, you know. But yeah, it's been a wild day. It's been a wild day, but yeah, I'm about to probably eat something, relax for the evening, and there's a streamer I'm about to watch, so I'm gonna have a gonna have fun doing that. They're gonna play a game I want to see. Um, they're gonna play a game that I've been wanting to play, and I just haven't had a chance to. So that right there is gonna be cool to watch. I just hope, I just hope that something. I just hope I just hope that like people aren't being weird with me this time. Every single time, people always find a reason to like, you know, do something to me, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And like I said, maybe it's the fact that I'm in the graces of God most of the time, so people sense that, and there's people that don't have the graces of God with them all the time. Like I said, I feel like they get jealous at you for that. So, but all right. Anyway, that's it. God bless. Thank you for listening. If you did, I'll be back in 2 days again with another Bible stream, in the evening again. So, God bless. Take it easy, and please subscribe if you did it.